Hey guys, how you doing? Eric at SoCal Cigars. I wanted to do a video tonight, a little review of a cigar that I'm going to kind of call a sleeper, because I would have never known about it. I never had one of my friends have it. I've never seen it in a cigar shop. I've never seen it online. I've never even heard of it. The only reason I know about it is because an event I'm part of every year, we get several boxes of cigars from a vendor, and this happened to just be one of them that came through. And I started smoking them, and I'm like, wow, these are really good. And I was kind of thinking, well, they're probably not the best cigars, because we get like 500 cigars. And so I'm kind of assuming that, they're more of a bundle quality cigar, decent but not fantastic. But I kept smoking these ones, and I'm like, God, these are really good. I wonder what these are. And so I finally looked these up, and I'll show you. It's this little guy right here. It's actually a little box press cigar, and it's from I got my notes here. It's from Crowned Heads, is the manufacturer. And this is part of a series that they did that's a musical series. So they, I guess, dedicate different cigars to different musicians. And so this one's actually dedicated to Johnny Cash. Who would have known, right? So this is a Robusto. It's a 4.7 by 52. It's box press. It's from Nicaragua, but it actually has a Mexican San Andreas wrapper, which I thought was interesting because I would have told you without a doubt that this is a Maduro, and it's definitely not. They aren't as inexpensive as I thought either. I thought these were going to be more in the $5 range. They're more in the $9.50 range. If you're buying, let's say, a pack of 5 online, is basically where I'm basing that price of. It was like $47.25 for a box of 5. So, and it's actually a 90 rated cigar, which again, I was shocked. I didn't think that was going to be the case. So, let's get into this thing. I keep smoking these things, thinking, man, these things are awesome. I never even really thought to look them up. I just made a lot of assumptions that these were just probably okay, kind of whatever cigars. So, but given that I do like them, I haven't really sat and smoked one thinking of like the profiles and the nuances and all that stuff. So figured I'll review it so we can kind of get that going. And again, I'm going to do, even on a box press, we've talked about this, even on a box press, you can still do a deep V cut. So got a nice little cut there. Rolled nice. I'm not getting any bits in my mouth right now. Pretty loose draw. It is a big cut, but it's pretty loose. Because if you had done a guillotine cut, it would have been even a wider draw. But it's good. It's not, I'd rather almost have a loose draw than too tight of a draw. Here, let's go ahead and toast the foot, like we always do. Light this sucker up. So I will say on the light, it's a little bit of a bitter taste, but obviously that's just on the light, so we gotta wait. And again, I would say this tastes like a Maduro. So I'm not really that familiar with the San Andreas wrapper. So I would argue that if you're familiar with Maduros, that's the wheelhouse that you're looking at for this stick. Yeah, easy draw. It's got a really good volume of smoke. Actually, just pairing it with water tonight. But I just think it's good to have something to drink when you're smoking a cigar, because every once in a while, especially on the light, sometimes it can be a little bit bitter, and it helps to get that out. So there's almost a little bit of a spicy note, which is odd because, as you know, and I say this all the time, I'm not a big fan of spicy and peppery. But this does have a little bit of a spice to it, but it's not overpowering and it's not too peppery. It's a kind of a mild spice flavor, which I like it. It's okay. All right, I'm back, and I'm starting to get a little bit more out of this thing. I'm probably a good almost 3/4 of an inch into this thing. One thing I'm noticing is I'm getting a lot of residual flavor in my mouth. I'm getting kind of like, because some cigars do this, some don't. I'm getting kind of that coating in your mouth, if you're familiar with that feeling, because some cigars seem like they don't leave like a coating in your mouth. This one really feels like it's coating my mouth with with a good flavor. It's like a good aftertaste. Again, like we talked about, not all cigars aftertastes are good. This is good. So I'm starting to get a little more out of it, like that retrohale right there. So I'm getting kind of that really creamy smoke, which is nice. I think that's what's leaving that kind of coating in my mouth. I'm getting a little bit of a chocolatey flavor and a little bit of a nutty flavor. I think it's that wrapper. I mean, because I know I've seen data on the fact that, and again, it's hard to believe this is true because you would think it's the filler, but from what I've heard, and this is apparently the case, from very reputable sources, that up to 70% of the flavor of cigar can come from the wrapper. So this Mexican San Andreas wrapper is definitely giving, it's kind of like that Maduro kind of vibe, but I'm getting a little more nutty and chocolatey, which is actually really nice. Like I said, this is cigar I would have had no freaking clue, and I'm so glad that we got these. It's turned out to be one that I'm smoking on a regular basis. I've given these to my brother-in-law and sister-in-law, Moose and Connie. They love these things too. In fact, I gave them a couple of these yesterday. But yeah, it's a really good. Like it's not like you're getting 1,000 notes out of this thing, but what you are getting is very flavorful. It's like a really robust flavor. Again, I'm getting kind of that nutty, chocolatey, and then like I said, that really, and it's starting to go away a little bit. That kind of faint, soft, spicy. You know, not like bitter, because sometimes to me spicy can be really bitter, and I really can't stand that. This isn't like that, and a lot of times I think it's when it's associated with being really peppery, because this isn't really peppery. It's just like a really subtle spicy note, and it's really actually nice. I think when you add it in with like that kind of nutty, chocolatey, creamy smoke thing going on, it works really well. I think if it didn't have maybe those other aspects, it maybe come through too strong, but it's getting subdued into all this mixture, which is it's actually really cool. See, it's burning good. The construction is really nice on these things. I mean, it holds this box press shape fantastic. Every one I've smoked, and I've smoked quite a few of these now, everyone is at great quality. Everyone has been a good draw. They burned well. I've never had an issue with these. I mean, these, looking at it now, it's kind of funny. I'm kind of glad I smoked these before I looked it up, because I kind of had one thing in my mind, thinking this was just probably some bundled cigar, mediocre, whatever, and then come to find out it's a 90 rated with a kind of unique wrapper, and it's a very good cigar. So again, that's why I kind of call this a sleeper, because I would have never had a clue. If I saw that, here's what I'm saying. If you probably saw this in a cigar shop, you might just walk right by it. But I'm telling you, this crowned heads and this music line, I would definitely check these out. I'm telling you, you'll be happy with it if you like this type of what I'm describing to you. And luckily, a lot of, I mean, my flavors is kind of diverse, because again, I'll go from like a infused acid Cuba, then I'll go over to something else like a Davidoff, or I'll go over to like a Hemingway, or I'll smoke. There's that what's that? There's that Jamaican that Jamaican one too that I did a review. Look it up. There's one I did a review on that's like a Jamaican method of infusing the tobacco, and that's fantastic too. And that's kind of the beauty of cigars too. I think cigars, it's more based on your mood. And that's why I've said in previous videos too, a lot of times I'll just go up to my humidor, open it up, and start looking. I don't really know what I want. It's kind of like if you've ever gone to a brick and mortar shop just to kind of buy one or two cigars for maybe an event you're going to. It's a lot to do with just your mood at the moment. It's like when you're looking, maybe different whiskeys, or for me, maybe like I'm looking at different sodas. One day it's going to be a Pepsi, the next day I feel like a Mountain Dew, then it's going to be a Code Red, tonight it's water. So I don't think there's any reason to limit your the diversity of the cigars that you're smoking. I think it's really just based on what your mood is. And I would say if you're in the mood for something kind of rich and creamy and a lot of flavor, you're going to be this is a cool one to go for. But again, thick smoke, a lot of if you really like that kind of really dense, thick, creamy smoke, that's there on this one, man. I'm telling you, it's cool. And again, it's not bitter. It's definitely developed. So because when I first lit it, as you saw, I was kind of like, I'm almost thinking, oh, I thought I loved this thing. I hope this gets better. And very quickly, I'd say about a half an inch in, it then started to give the flavor that you're looking for from the cigar. Again, you got to kind of, in my opinion, you've got to kind of always ignore that initial light flavor, because you've really torched the tobacco to get that thing lit. You're drawing on it very strong, and I think it takes probably a good half-inch mark is a reasonable assessment. That's when it starts to really even out, and you're going to start really tasting the flavor profile that the manufacturer and the whoever put the profile together is meaning for you to taste. Because this one really changes after that half-inch mark. And I'm trying to get more out of it, or see if it's changing or gets retrogale a little bit more. Yeah, so that too, I think it's developing a little bit more. Now it's almost getting kind of a little bit of a woody flavor too, which, so I'm saying this is definitely not a one-note wonder. There's a lot going on here. I would argue it's a pretty complex cigar, because we've got creamy, we've got that little bit of spice, you've got that little bit of chocolate hint, you've got that little bit of nuttiness, and now you're even getting a little bit of that kind of woodsy overtone. I mean, this is I'm telling you, this little guy, for being 4.7 inches and a 52 little box press, man, this thing, maybe not a sleeper, it's a creeper, man. This is when you start smoking it and you're like, God, this thing just keeps giving. So I'm pretty, again, that's why in the beginning I was a little like, wait a minute, I thought I loved this more than I remember. And this is why. It's definitely develops into something that you're going to be like, this is pretty cool. It's holding the ash well too, and I actually set it down when I was taking that break for a few minutes to see if I could let it sit for a little bit and see if it'd go out, and it didn't. It stayed lit. So it's definitely constructed well, and this is a very well built cigar. And what's kind of cool too, given that it's just a 4.7 incher, and just a Robusto, so it's just a 52. The good part about that is if you don't have a ton of time and you want to still get a smoke in, it's a little bit shorter of a cigar, so it's a little bit faster of a smoke. So I don't think you're gonna, you get into a Churchill and you're dedicating some time. This is something you could sneak in a little easier maybe. So anyway, I'm gonna get a little deeper into this thing and then I'll give you my final thoughts. But I'm telling you, so far so good. I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna recommend you try this if this is sounding like it's in your wheelhouse. But hang tight for a second, and I'm going to get a little deeper into this thing, and then we'll finish up. Okay, guys, I'm getting down there. This thing is still tasting awesome. But let me tell you, while I was pausing, I did remember that Jamaican cigar that I reviewed the brand is called the Upsetters. Definitely go check out that review and check out some of their cigars. There's a whole line of cigars they put out that all have different names, and they are fantastic. The way they use this old style of, it's almost like I think it's a cross between like fermenting and infusing the flavors into that cigar, that tobacco. Man, fantastic. So try the Upsetters. But again, back to this guy, fantastic. It's still got all the things that we talked about. I don't think it's going to develop a whole lot more. It's already developed quite a bit, right? Yeah, still the high volume. It's still smoking well. Great draw, creamy. You still get that subtle hint of chocolate, that really subtle spice that's not overwhelming or overbearing. You're still getting that little bit of nutty and woodsy. Good stick. I would say if you're, especially if you're like a Maduro and like a rich flavored cigar fan, especially like the darker cigars like a Maduro, you're gonna like this. I would definitely give this a try. I would be shocked if you didn't like it if you're a Maduro fan. Anyway, I hope you got some information out of this one. If you did get this far in the video, I appreciate it, because I know I do make longer videos than some reviews. I gotta just to give you a little heads up. I'm going to be going to Missouri in September to visit, like I do every year. And my cousin Jacob is currently vacationing in Florida and is bringing back some cigars that we're going to review together. So look forward to that. We're gonna do a little review together on some sticks that he brings back in Missouri. So look forward to that, and I'm definitely looking forward to that. It'll be an awesome time. I always have such a great time when I go and get to chill. I mean, that is what I'm always talking about with cigars, is that ability to get together with people that you enjoy being with in a really cool environment, and just really enjoying smoking a cigar and talking. And it's a time to really connect with people, which is awesome. And then again, nights like this, look, it's a beautiful night. It's a subtle breeze. The temperature is perfect. It's beautiful out. And I'm just sitting here by myself enjoying a stick. So that's also good too. But again, like I've always said, to me, smoking cigars is very social, and definitely tap into that, you know. But again, great stick. Give this a go, and I will see you next time.